Pastor Benny, Pastor Kelly, thank you so much for coming and visiting us here in the beautiful country of Guatemala. I want to say to your church family, Calvary, thank you for your faithfulness and your partnership to Convoy of Hope. You are literally changing millions of lives because of your kindness and generosity. I also want to say thank you to the church leadership for sharing Pastor Benny and Pastor Kelly with us, allowing them to be here and see what God is doing in and through Convoy of Hope.
This country is beautiful, and we're just so thankful to Convoy for the opportunity to be here. Well, Brad, thanks for bringing us here today. You know, Kelly and I, our family, we've been friends and supporters of Convoy for a really long time.
And we are super grateful.
It's amazing to see what Convoy is doing all around the world, but how did all of this get started?
Some people think we're only 31 years old, but the truth is this story started on August 25th, 1969. So on August 25th, 1969, at that time, Hal's mom and dad were pastors in Northern California. They had a church business meeting that night, and Hal has 3 siblings, so there were 4 of them. And Hal's mom and dad were great parents, so they didn't want their children to have to go to a church business meeting, so they had a babysitter come. But the babysitter was running late, and so because of that, Hal's mom and dad loaded the 4 kids in the back and headed out of the subdivision. But as they were leaving where their house was, Hal's dad looked back in the rearview mirror and noticed that the girl who was coming to babysit actually was coming in. So he turned the car around, went back to the house, dropped the 4 kids off, and they ended up spending the evening with the babysitter as Hal's mom and dad pulled back out again and headed to the church business meeting. About an hour later, there were 2 police officers that showed up on the front porch of Hal's mom and dad's home, and to inform them that their mom and dad had just been in a horrific accident. Hal's dad was killed instantly, hit by a drunk driver. Hal's mom was seriously injured and ended up being in the hospital for almost 10 months. And so as this tragic news is happening and people are seeing police cars, friends and neighbors from the neighborhood showed up in the front yard. The police officers turned and faced the group in the front yard and said, "Is there anybody here who would take the kids for the evening? If not, we'll just take them down to the station." But there was a young couple in the front yard who raised their hands, Bill and Levada Davis, who said, "We'll take them." But that was a sacrificial commitment because they had children of their own and they lived in a single wide trailer. So Hal's brothers and sister, then they rotated night after night who was going to sleep on the couch, who was going to sleep on the floor, who was going to sleep in a bed for months as their mom recovered in the hospital. And Hal said they survived on the kindness of church members and friends, food stamps, people dropping groceries off at the house. But Hal said at 12 years old, when you figured out that they were now poor, and when you discover that you're poor, your new goal in life is to never be poor again. And so Hal, as he moved into high school, had multiple jobs where he helped his mom and helped support the family. And then he realized that education was probably going to be a good answer to get out of a life of poverty. He went on to get multiple degrees. He got a degree in journalism, he got a degree in theology, and then he was such a good writer, he started ghostwriting for other people as they wanted to release a book, but didn't have the skill set to write it themselves. And so that took him to Calcutta, India, where Mark and Hulda Buntain asked him if he would come and help them write their book. But they had a surprise for him because when he got off the plane in Calcutta, Mark and Hulda said, "Hal, we've got a surprise for you today, and I know you're here to interview us, but we'd love for you to have the opportunity to interview Mother Teresa." So Hal, as a young journalist, was taken right over, got to interview Mother Teresa, and at the end of the interview, Mother Teresa kind of turns the tables on Hal and says, "Young man, what are you doing to care for the poor and suffering?" And Hal thought, you better not lie to Mother Teresa, which is a great idea. And he said, to be honest, not much of anything. But he said her answer was so kind and so gentle. She looked at him and said, everybody can do something. Just do the next kind thing that God puts in front of you. And Hal went back to the hotel that night. He was wrecked with the information that he had received and seen, heard the cries in the streets of the children. He said he got down next to his bed in that hotel, prayed and wept, and he felt like God was breaking his heart for the least, the last, and the lost, the poor and suffering, the marginalized. And he felt like the Lord prompted him when he came back to the United States to take 3 days and 3 nights, find 8 cities in the US, Chicago, New York, Detroit, DC, Miami, and he would do ride-alongs with the police officers on the 3rd shift. He would interview prostitutes and drug dealers and runaways and those who've just been marginalized. And he said through that journey, God really broke his heart for the poor and suffering, the least, the last, and the lost. And he said he came back from that to Northern California where he was living. He took $300 out of his checking account, borrowed a friend's truck in the church, went to a grocery store, filled the back of the pickup truck with groceries, drove down to where the migrant workers were working in the fields in Northern California and gave them food. And that is where Convoy of Hope started.
Wow.
Hal says in the tragedy of the accident of his father that he believes God has taken the mangled metal from his dad's car and turned it into a fleet of trucks, bringing help and hope to everyone around the world. That's how Convoy started.
Man, that is incredible. And if you've got time, we'd like to see what Convoy is doing right here in Guatemala. Can you take us around?
Let's do it. So I just got to show you guys one of our kitchens where you watched the mothers of these children in our feeding program make the meal for today. And we're going to be able to take you down to the school and give you an opportunity to feed those children and love on them today.
It's very cool how you are using the moms to help cook the meals. Now, this is just one kitchen in one feeding program in one country here in Guatemala. So how many kids today do you think will be fed as a result of the ministry of Convoy of Hope just in Guatemala?
Yeah, so in Guatemala, I learned this lesson on this trip actually from one of our team members here. In the United States, you have states. In Canada, you have provinces. In Guatemala, you have departments. And so Convoy of Hope is in 5 departments across the country of Guatemala. We have 27 program centers in those 5 departments. Okay. And today, this morning, 8,000 children will be fed here just in Guatemala. This is one of our newer programs, so it has a small beginning, but what God's doing here and the team we have in Guatemala are just doing an absolutely incredible job. Currently, Convoy of Hope is feeding over 639,000 children every school day around the world. And we have 4,200 feeding programs in all those countries internationally. So Convoy of Hope has a goal. The vision is to feed 1 million children every school day by the year 2030. And because of friends like you and because of the loving people at Calvary, we're right on pace to hit that goal. So we're so grateful for your kindness, for your generosity, for your love. And it really is. The truth is, there is no us without you. So thanks so much.
So Brad, with the children's feeding program, what all does that entail for a child and for a family?
Right. So I love what Mark Buntain said, who was the founder of Calcutta Mission of Mercy. He said, the only way we'll ever reach their hearts is through their bellies. And the truth is, some children will never hear the good news of the gospel over the groans of their stomachs. So we not only give them rice and beans and the nutrition that they need, but we give them the bread of life and we give them living water because Jesus changes everything. But as you saw this morning in that kitchen, it was pretty amazing. This isn't unique to Guatemala. It happens in the United States, but there are children who didn't like eating the vegetables or just looking at the vegetables.
Right.
And we just had a beautiful one just join us. Hi. And so what our team has done, the mothers have taken all the vegetables, the tomatoes, the peppers, everything that they need, and then they put them in a blender. And as you saw them
Yeah.
with the blender, they were making it into a puree, and then they pour that next to the rice and the chicken that they will give them. So the kids just think it's a cool orange color, not knowing it's tons of carrots. It's going to help their eyes and help their brain. And they are able to eat that and get all the nutrition they need, so that when we measure their wrists, when we measure their height, we see them growing every day and getting exactly what their bodies need.
It's amazing.
I'll tell you what, are you guys ready? I'd love to take you inside and let you feed some of our kids.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Well, we're here in another part of Guatemala, kind of a different climate. It's a little chilly up here, but we just met the most incredible farmer and his family.
An amazing family. And the cool thing about the farmers up here in the mountains of Guatemala, for instance, this family in particular, they grow broccoli, carrots, they have cattle, they have goats, they have chickens, they have horses. And up on this mountainside, what they're able to grow here has been pretty phenomenal. But for me, I don't know if this caught you off guard, the coolest thing for me wasn't that they could grow all these amazing things, but on top of that, the farmer right here is also a pastor.
Right.
And he feels responsible for the spiritual development of this entire mountainside. He's also the president of the council of this village. And I believe there's about 400 people that live just on this mountainside. And God's using his family really to change the trajectory of many lives in this area.
Well, I love the strategy here of Convoy. You know, I think a lot of us have heard that old adage, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime.
Exactly. And that's something that Convoy is really committed to, because one of the phrases we use around Convoy is that we'll feed your kids, but God willing, we won't be feeding their kids, because agriculture breaks the cycle of poverty, and it's agriculture that creates sustainability in a village. And that's what we're trying to create everywhere we go, so we can actually move on from this place, go 12 or 13 miles down the road, and do it again.
Wow.
So Brad, can you tell me a little bit about where we are right now?
Right now, we are at the Kata Center, which is our Women's Empowerment Training Center, where they learn trades and they have an opportunity to start out at a much higher income level once they graduate through our program. We're currently in the computer class where they learn data entry, and as you know, data entry is needed all over the world. They can work remotely, and once they learn these computer skills, once again, they have an opportunity to start at a much higher income level, break the cycle of poverty in their family, and really get a great start in life. And not only do we have the computer classes, we have English as a second language. We have upstairs is where you can learn to become a chef in a restaurant. Not only can they become a chef, but they can also learn how to sew. I told the ladies upstairs earlier that they were my favorite because I'm one of the shortest people I know, and I need those sewing ladies to hem my pants.
That's right.
So, but there's so many opportunities, and it's just wonderful to see God change their lives when they come into these program centers. But right here is the beauty salon. This is an exciting place that's really hustle and bustle today, but they have their own carts where they have their blow dryers, their scissors, their spray bottles, their clips to hold hair back. And this morning we learned that some of them were learning how to do a perm, and that's another thing that actually they can earn more money if they know how to do a perm. And so all of these things are just so exciting. But for me, the coolest thing is that our instructors, our trainers, love Jesus.
Yeah.
And they are discipling these ladies. They are mentoring them. They are speaking life to them. Many of these women have come from abusive backgrounds and really difficult stories. But the opportunities that are afforded here at the Kata Center will change the trajectory of their lives. And I want to share with you one of the cool stories that's happened right here out of this CADA Center.
Este sueño inició muchísimos años atrás. Yo veía infinidad de mujeres arreglándose, se veían hermosas, con un autoestima elevado. Y yo decía, en algún momento yo voy a tocar esos cabellos porque son... Cuando yo hablaba de mi sueño, escuchaba mucho el tema, ¿crees que cortando cabello vas a tener futuro? Muchas personas te señalan por el simple hecho de querer emprender y máximo siendo mamá soltera. Sin embargo, al momento que yo me enteré que iba a ser mamá, yo dije, no, esto ya no va a poder seguir. Toqué fondo. Me sentía sola. Ya no tenía esperanza. No tenía ni la mínima idea de cómo iba a mantener a un bebé. E incluso dejé de buscar a Dios porque decía, ¿por qué? Y que toda mi vida se había destruido por completo. Que cuando el bebé nació y todo, escuchaba de CADA. Ella fue la que mandó mis datos y me dijo, tenés que hacerlo por tu hijo. El día que me aceptaron en CADA, regresé a la vida. Volví a soñar. Volví a tener una esperanza más. Y CADA es amor, es luz, es apoyo para muchas personas. CADA salva vidas. Se sintió mucha adrenalina, que ya estaba cumpliendo uno de muchos sueños. Aprendimos a trabajar un cabello, sino también aprendimos a valorarnos. Amarme, valorarme, cuidarme y sentirme bonita todos los días. Sin Dios no somos nada. Y tenés que amarte, valorarte y verte con los ojos que Dios. Convoy salvaron mi vida y salvaron la de muchas más mujeres. Si este programa no existiera, definitivamente muchas tuviéramos los sueños estropeados. La Arcelit que entró a CADA se quedó atrás. De la misma depresión que yo sentía, se quedaron en el olvido. La Arcelit que salió llena de felicidad, llena de amor. Todo lo que aprendí me ayudó mucho a obtener el empleo de mis sueños. Empecé mi pequeño emprendimiento en mi casa. Siento mucha tranquilidad y mucha satisfacción el saber que con mis manos estoy haciendo lo mejor de mí para darle un buen futuro a mi hijo. Miro al espejo, miro una mujer radiante, una mujer valiente, una mujer guerrera. Un negocio más grande para poder brindar el apoyo a muchas mujeres que lo necesitan, para que ellas vean que sí valen, que son unas joyas preciosas. A mí me salvaron la vida y el día de mañana todo lo que yo aprendí y puedo dárselo a alguien más, también le puede salvar la vida.
Pastor Benny, Pastor Kelly, thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedules to come spend the week with us in Guatemala. We know that saying yes to this meant you had to say no to some other things, but we really, really appreciate it. The Calvary, you guys are amazing. Your hearts of radical generosity have literally changed hundreds and thousands of lives. That's why I so appreciate being invited back every year for your One Day to Feed the World offering, because your one day changes their every day. And as you pray about what you're going to do in this opportunity, just remember that this investment not only feeds their bellies, but it will change their lives for eternity, because Jesus is the answer. And Jesus is woven in every one of our programs. And that's why we're so grateful for friends like you, because we know that there is no Convoy without you. So thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your generosity. And I'd just like to hear, as we close out our time together, from Pastor Kelli and Pastor Benny, what you saw this week and what it means to you.
Well, it was incredible. You know, at our church, a lot of times we say that missions is our mandate.
Right.
It's been mandated to us from Jesus himself.
Yeah.
And Convoy of Hope is a very strategic partner in helping us accomplish what Jesus has called us to do. And another thing we like to say around our church is that hope is our message.
That's right. Hope, Esperanza, is our message, and hope is Jesus. And we have seen countless lives changed this week through the Children's Feeding Initiative, through the agriculture program, through the women's empowerment. We've seen lives changed because of Jesus. And every time you give, you're giving so that people can find hope, so that they can find Jesus. And we're so grateful for your generosity.
So thank you for partnering with Calvary, with Convoy of Hope, for our one day to feed the world. We can't wait to see what God does this year through your generosity.